I am having a rough day. I had a rough night. I've been not feeling well for over a week now with extra symptoms. I am wheezing so hard. I can hear it even when I talk. I can hear it in my mind. I can hear it wheezing. I have so much inflammation in my joints that I am in a ridiculous amount of pain. And I'm trying to rack my brain and figure out what is responsible for my new symptoms, because I'm dealing with something. And the only control I can have over it sometimes is to figure out how or why or if there's a solution. So I have been seeing all of this extra stuff in the news and the meteorology reports and everything about how we are having record-breaking pollen levels. And in the state that I live in, we are already, there's 2 in the US with the highest pollen, and I live in one. They diagnosed me with hay fever or allergic rhinitis. So when the allergies come, when the pollen comes, I already have a difficult time with the pollen, any of it. I can't even smell flowers without being negatively affected really by the pollen. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, what in the world is happening to me? I have so much inflammation. I was up vomiting, dry heaving, just completely itchy, like hot, cold, itchy puke, just can't breathe, wheezing, feeling my throat is sticking together. I know that it's not asthma right now. I know that this is not asthma, but I can't stop wheezing and my cough won't go away and all this stuff. So I start remembering like the mast cell activation stuff, and I feel like I remember them talking to me before about histamine intolerance and whatnot, and ways to combat MCAS, the mast cell activation syndrome. And there's not much to do, right? There's not much to do. So I already have a ridiculous amount of dietary restrictions. FODMAP, I can't really, not supposed to eat any raw fruits or vegetables, which is excruciatingly painful because I love eating fruits and vegetables, and I lost 100 pounds, like switching from, eating out and stuff into eating the right way, and it made me sick. And now I can't maintain those healthy eating habits like I would like to because I'm not allowed to eat that stuff for my health. So it seems ridiculous. So now I'm looking at ways to lower histamine, and there are things you can do in your diet, but when the pollen is so thick that you have to scrape it off your windshield, I'm not expecting too much of a difference with the diet. More than maybe the effect of taking an allergy pill, which I can't take because I have processes that don't work normally. So when I take those medications, they usually do a paradox, and then I have extra symptoms, and I really don't take any meds at all. So I'm looking, and so I start Googling, like, okay, well, how can we change this? And I start panicking every time there's something that says dietary restrictions because I have so many already. And so then I start like, nah, and I start going back to like tube feeding discussions and, just all that kind of stuff. And it really isn't something I want to deal with. So I look up foods for FODMAP and histamine, and it says basically like limit yourself to a half a cup of only certain kinds of fruits a day. A half a cup. I can't juice. People don't get it. It's not an excuse. I can't juice. I can't do smoothies. And I actually have like written down, no juicing. So I have to not have anything that ferments or can get food poisoning, basically, if it sits out, because it sits inside of me and does not digest fast enough. So it grows bacteria and makes me very sick, and it can cause sepsis and all kinds of shit if it stays too long. So blood poisoning, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So I'm Googling, all like what I can try to do, and like take some turmeric and take some vitamin C and B6 maybe. And okay, these things seem like feasible. I have these things at my disposal. And then just trying to look at more foods to avoid. And it says, don't eat cheese, don't eat processed meats, don't eat aged something, don't eat ferments, which I already don't. So I already do not eat a high histamine diet at all. So there's not really a lot of stuff for me to cut out. Which just is one of those things. So anyway, I'm just having a moment of wondering what it's going to take, like how I can actually start to feel better. When I'm actually allergic to the air right now because it's so full of pollen, and I have an air filter at home, and I have air purifier and all this stuff, but I'm battling so much inflammation, and so much of it is out of my control because it's the environment. I can't escape the pollen when it's pollen season in this state unless I leave the state, which I can't do. So anyway, yeah. So here's to the faith that the turmeric and the B6 and the calcium, the vitamin C, it also said calcium, but hoping that stuff helps so I don't have to take steroids or anything like that to be able to get myself to a functional feeling. Because you want to Google it, you can Google MCAS and look at the symptoms, and that is what I've been dealing with like nonstop, and it hasn't stopped for a while. Get hives every time my heart rate increases. So I exercise a little bit and I break out in complete hives. Every tattoo I have on my body is raised up. Like, you can feel what the tattoo is without looking at it because the ink is angry. Yeah. So cheers to hoping that the B6 and the things give me some relief, because we still have a little while to go for this pollen season.